Hello guys, welcome back to Super Guy Boy Show, and this is part 2 of me reviewing albums that I listened to in 2021. If you saw the first video, you know how this go to, so yeah, let's get this intro over with. Jpegmafia's EP2 was a surprisingly great listen to. There's not one track where I thought was a dud in the track listing. All the tracks are great for their own reasons, like this one is For Us. It has such a great melody on here, and it's probably my favorite track on here, and the topic of the track about rappers getting taken advantage of was a pretty interesting topic for JPEG to go over. And you know, I like where JPEG was going for this project. He was going away more R&B and pop style on here with still his own weird ways of doing it. Sure, there's probably a couple moments where I feel like the production does get a bit samey, especially the drums when you get after the track Keltec, don't know how to say the track name, but I'll show it so you know what I'm saying. I feel like the drums will start to get the same, but even still, I like the melodies on here. Each of the melodies are catchy and all that, and I really like this project. A great project, and I would recommend anyone who wants to get into JPEG to give it a listen. Tyler, the Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost. Dang, I really like this one. If you haven't seen my review, I'll leave a description for the review below, and also for the other albums I also did review. I really did like this one, and not really any opinions have really changed for me. Other than maybe Juggernaut growing on me a lot more than when I originally listened to it. I don't think I need to say more than what I already said in my original review. So yeah, really great album. Recommend it. Next album I'm gonna bring up, which is also my second favorite, Lingnota's Sinner Get Ready. The stuff I get from here emotionally and sonically, it's just great music. The fact that it takes the worst and scary parts of religion, but also the beautiful parts of religion in this music sonically is really creative the way she takes it. Because reading through these lyrics of all of this just feels like an emotional ride that it's going to be challenging to hear on a first listen. It definitely was for me. The fact that how the track Many Hands where describes the arrival of the Lord coming down on earth, but then the second half of the track describing this disgusting image of these hands all around your body, and it's just really disgusting the way it takes it and all of that. It's just surprising that this actually went that far in it. Or how tracks 5 to 8 do the Jimmy Swagger incident where he was with a prostitute, and it samples his crying confessions and the prostitute's like interview about it, and then it leads to the track Men Is Like a Spring Flower, the closer of this random topic through these tracks, where it comes to the conclusion that men as it takes it's just not going to accept whatever you give them. They're going to take whatever they want from there, which either the way you take it, I just find as I don't see it as more that's her opinion. I just take it as more as describing that's what Jimmy Swagger was trying to do from there. And the fact that how the intro plays into this idea of religion and how to join it, and how Lgnota is singing about how she's going to take this eternally and put this devotion and work into this religion, and how she's going to do so much with it. But then by the second track, she's asking a favor from the Lord, which is later revealed later in the track to kill someone, and she's screaming on the top of her lungs about, why aren't you gonna kill this person? I've done so much with you, which is kind of an interesting topic, that it revolves around someone who only joined religion just to get something out of it. And the track Repent Now Confess is this person, or as it was leading on to the Jimmy Swagger incident, about this person asking for people to confess because you should give something back to the Lord because he gave you this vessel, the vessel being your body that your soul is living in, and how he's going to take it away from you if you don't confess, which is interesting in my opinion, that she took this concept and just twisted it around into this terrifying, like, you better do this because he did this for you type of thing. And then the last track on here is just this beautiful orchestral like noise from here. I love the way it goes. It's relaxing and all of that. And then the track Pennsylvania Furnace, which is probably the most played track I listened to from here. It's this simple piano ballad where she's describing the furnace, which I had to look up, by the way. Thank you to Fantano over there on his review. there's apparently an underground furnace in Pennsylvania, which is kind of weird that it's still going. And then she takes that and turns into this visualization of it being hell itself, and it's weirdly interesting the way she takes it around and the singing throughout all these tracks, whether you like it or not. I will say it's emotionally packed. You can hear her voice straining on a lot of these tracks. I really love this album, man. It's just weird the stuff I can get out of this. Visually, this album sounds like a woman going on, doing a solo on a church hymn, was slowly having a breakdown while going through the performances, and then it ends with her saying, well, fuck you, by the way. I don't know. I love this thing. I recommend it, but it's also going to be very challenging. Our next album that I'm going to be looking through is The Melodic Blues by Baby Keem. I still think that this project could have been a lot more better, but from the few highlights I had for me, was still great in my opinion. Baby Keem, while still having a couple flaws, like maybe his vocals could be very like yelpy to the point where it gets really annoying and the track becomes way more unlistenable, or maybe sometimes the tracks could be a little bit lukewarm where barely that much is happening, drug activity and issues being the biggest examples of there, and sometimes the production maybe not being the best, but even still, the tracks I like from here are still very high. Trademark USA is a great opener, from going from this smooth, calm instrumental to this loud, bombastic beat with Baby Keem's yelpy vocals screaming on the top of his lungs, and then the shout out to the dead refrain being like just stuck to my head for some reason. I don't know why, I just can't get it out. And the weird and quirky Range Brothers with him and Kendrick Lamar. I like how you can clearly tell they're both having fun, and the Rover Gang. I just really love this track for like how you can tell that they're just not taking this track seriously and how they're just having fun. Or the track Scar is a very heartbreaking track, which is probably my favorite track out of this entire thing. I like the way they use the Love Lockdown drums on here, and it's used for a great effect in my opinion. And the singing and the chorus on here is one of my favorites of this year. Like, I love the singing and the chorus of I ask God, why did love you make so hard? I don't know why, I just really like that. And the last track, 16, I like where Baby Keem was going with this track. And the beat, I really like this one. I still feel like Baby Keem could have done a bit more better for this album. I still feel like the highlights for me are very high for me, and it wasn't where to the point where, you know, I feel like that this album is just where its low points are really low. It's more like they're just lukewarm and a bit average for me. I would recommend this, and I do like where Baby Keem was taking the whole new trap sound and taking it in a bit more of an experimental way, almost reminding me of how Travis Scott did it on Rodeo. Maybe not as effectively, but the intentions are very clear from here. And I hope that Baby Keem can make a great project, because the way that this project left me, I'm very excited for what he does next. This year, Lil Baby and Lil Durk's album, The Voice of the Heroes, is a really great album. This album grew on me more and more every time I listened to it ever since the review. And yes, in case you're wondering, Rich Off Pain is probably like my 4th most played track of this year. Like, I just cannot get over that song. I think both Lil Baby and Lil Durk both proved themselves to be really great MCs on this album. They can really make very thought-provoking music, and the production here is definitely some of their best. You know, like, it made me kind of more into Lil Baby way more than I actually was. Like, I think his vocal delivery, it definitely grew more on me, and I think Lil Durk, his singing voice, while not being the best, he still has a lot of great singing points on this album, and definitely there's a lot of great thought-provoking music like Rich Off Pain, How It Feels. And those songs for me are personally the highlights, where I feel like their lyricism really like shines through this entire project. This project was really good. If there was one downside to this thing, I think for an album with this many tracks, the production may get a little bit samey, especially the hi-hats and the pianos at certain points. Like, I think after like the 11th track, it just goes a bit of a hit or miss for me, in my opinion. But other than that, I really love this project, and I would recommend it. I think both Lil Baby and Lil Durk both proved themselves to be really great MCs on a project together, and I'm really excited to see what they would both do on their solo projects.